Tale, okay, watch this video. Okay, watch this video.
Speaker, the issue of the Gold for Reserve program, it's a very important program. And when you look at the costs involved or the losses involved, Mr. Speaker, I wonder why not so much is being done about it. When you look in the Bank of Ghana financial statement for 2024, it is stated in clearly that the Gold for Oil program incurred a loss of 1.8 billion. And as a result of that, the board decided to stop the program or bring that program to a halt. And then you have a program, the Gold for Reserve program, which is also being managed by the Bank of Ghana. And from the IMF staff report for December 2025, and since we are on an IMF program, the staff report is equally important. It is a document that has authority, and that report says that a loss of $214 million has been made. Clearly, this is even more than the 1.8 billion Ghana cedis that halted the program for the Gold for Reserve, the Gold for Oil. And so, Mr. Speaker, this is a very, very important issue that I believe that Parliament is being called upon to take up that responsibility, that oversight responsibility, and make sure we do the needful. Mr. Speaker, this brings us to three facts. The first, like I mentioned, is the fact that the IMF has mentioned already in the staff reports that $214 million costs or losses have been made by Bank of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, that $240 million is equivalent to 0.2% of our national GDP. It's equivalent to 0.2%, Mr. Speaker, of our national GDP. So it tells you the quantum of cost or losses that we have incurred on this program alone. Mr. Speaker, it will also interest you to know that the Goldbod, that is the sole aggregator, seller, or whatever, trader for the gold, and Bank of Ghana are shifting blame. Goldbod is saying that they are not losses. BOG is also saying you cannot term them as losses. And so I remember on the 12th of January 2026, the governor said that they can no longer bear the costs involved in the Gold for Reserve program, and so there should be burden sharing between Bank of Ghana and Ministry of Finance. Then the IMF came back to tell them that the IMF came back on the 15th of January through the Director of Communications to tell them that this is something that could have been avoided. Clearly, the cost involved is something that could have been avoided because, as they said, the program was never meant to make profits, but if they had put the requisite safeguards, they would have prevented the losses or the huge costs that we have incurred. Mr. Speaker, this is a real loss to the people of Ghana. I say so because the $240 million is equivalent to 29 times the allocation that this House approved for their cherished and most prized policy, the 24-hour economy. It is 29 times the cost of the amount of money that we approved for the 24-hour economy. I thought this was a cherished and a prized policy, and so you rather focus on putting in more money, but yet you've gone ahead to make a loss that is 29 times more than what you put in, the 110 million you put in for the 2020, for your 24-hour economy policy. Mr. Speaker, till date, we are yet to see the one job, 3 people, 3 shifts for the Ghanaian youth. Till date, we are yet to see, but yet we are able to incur a cost that is 29 times the allocation of the budget that you put in. Mr. Speaker, my leader also mentioned that truly this huge cost or loss is costing us about 30 new hospitals or the completion of 50 of the Agenda 111 hospitals. And I believe that this would have gone a long way. This would have gone a long way to address the no-bed syndrome that is killing a lot of people unnecessarily. Maybe you haven't lost a relative through that, so you can sit here and say what you are saying. But if these losses had been channeled into some of these things, we could have prevented the issue of the no-bed syndrome that we are facing as Ghanaians today. Mr. Speaker, to add to the loss, I would also like to remind this House that in 2025, we approved $279 million for the Goldbod. In 2025, we approved $279 million for the Goldbod. Mr. Speaker, in the 2026 budget report that was presented to us, for the first 9 months, they hadn't touched it. But then we were told that they were going to utilize it in the last quarter. We need to find out how these monies were utilized, Mr. Speaker. That is very important. That is why there is a need for us to set up the ad hoc committee to find these things out. Mr. Speaker, I must also say that there's a pattern here. Losses are declared, losses are denied. Costs are being redistributed in the name of what? Burden sharing. Mr. Speaker, this is not transparency. This is contradiction. And that is why there is a need to set up the ad hoc committee to address some of these things. We were also told that this policy was used to stabilize the city. Surprisingly, it was able to stabilize the city, but it wasn't able to sustain the costs involved. How is that possible, Mr. Speaker? How is that possible? And that is why there's a need for us to set up the ad hoc committee to look at some of these things. Mr. Speaker, there was also another thing that the IMF flagged, and that was a significant downside risk, Mr. Speaker, arising from the program, including 1, the losses from failed trades, 2, elevated fees, elevated off-taker fees, and high operational costs. Mr. Speaker, in plain language, this is it. They are selling at a very low price, they are buying at a high price, and in between that, there's a lot of costs going on. But Mr. Speaker, trading in something as gold shouldn't incur the huge costs that we are seeing. Maybe we can go to the traders in Abosokai for them to teach us that in trading, we buy low, we sell high, and then we make some money for a rainy day. That is what it is. We buy low, we sell high, and make some money for a rainy day, so that we don't get to incur the huge cost that we are incurring. That is costing us so much.
God have mercy upon us.